All right, Shalom. There's the brother Nahoya from the GMS Orlando camp. I want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who are the elders of Yasha Allah, and a sincere salutation to all Yuakim, who are preaching this word and believing this word, and to the Aquath who are believing this word in all truth and in sincerity. Yahweh is the name of the one they ignorantly call God. Yahweh Shai is the name of the one they ignorantly call Jesus. Bahashem is in the name. Rakah is spirit. Kodash is holy. Akyam is brothers. Aquath is sisters. Shalom means peace, and Yasher Allah is Israel in ancient Paleo Hebrew. All right, I want to go into a lesson through the spirit on the recent news. Many brothers, our apostles, our elders, the new bill that's been passed through the House of Representatives concerning the military draft, is just one step closer to prophecy, being fulfilled. All right, so let's start here. This is Revelation chapter 11 and verse 14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. All right, so let's start here. All right, and I'll bring out more precepts, Lord willing.
Will automatically register young men ages 18 through 26 for the U.S. draft. So if you or somebody you know is between those ages of 18 and 26, men or women, we're going to be covering that in this video as well. You're probably going to want to see this video. I'm going to be covering the details for you of what it was that unfolded. And I've actually been sharing this with you for quite some time, as we heard back in November that there were rumors that the U.S. draft would need to come back. And that was because we had heard that if we were to enter into a war, or right now potentially World War III, that we currently have 1/10 of the reserves that we had over 50 years ago when we had the last draft in place. And currently in 2023, numbers have come out that the U.S. Army has had a shortfall of its goals by 23%. The U.S. Navy has had a shortfall of 20%. The U.S. Air Force of 10%. And the U.S. Marines are the only ones that have met their goals for recruits. Now, in addition to that, as I mentioned, this is 1/10 of what it was just 50 years ago. So we're going to be discussing what it was that.
So right now, through the spirit, we're in a very beautiful time concerning prophecy, because this is what the Lord said. All right, this is Joel chapter 3 and 9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. All right, and this is what you have through the spirit. The Lord is making preparations for war. All right, this is why, they're putting these bills in place in a time, where there's a Ukrainian conflict. There's a conflict in the Middle Eastern region. There's always something going on over there. But now it's starting to hit home. Because ultimately, these guys that are over here are going to have to go fight through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shai. All right. And they're not being recruited. They're not enlisting in these armies because they don't believe in the American dream like they did 50 years ago. All right. And 50 years ago, the average Edomite had a way better life than they have now. And that's why they're not willing to fight and die for the dream, the mirage that is the American dream. All right. And this is why they're ultimately going to have to be forced into war. All right. This is the reality. When you deal with modern warfare, men die quickly. All right. As a sidebar, I want to go into this through the spirit, because you have the Ukrainian conflict that's been going on for, I want to say, roughly 2 years now. And this is an article that came out on that. It says the average age of Ukrainian soldiers fighting Russia is 43 to 45, while the youngest troops remain exempt from the frontline combat. Because what happens is the guys who are most well-trained usually die in the first wave, because you send your best men in the first wave, and they usually die as a casualty of war. And then you end up quickly having to recruit people, all right, who aren't as well-trained. And eventually you run through your young men, because a lot of the frontline military men, a lot of them are young men. All right, so you run through them quickly. And this is why, they're beginning to put that legislation in place for that military draft, because the U.S. military doesn't have the numbers that they need. All right, and this is just a small example. They've only been fighting 2 years, as far as Ukraine and Russia. Roughly 2 years, I believe. I think it is 2 years. But they've only been fighting for a couple years, and already the age of the fighting men is at 43 to 45, and only 2 years of war, which shows you how devastating these type of modern warfare situations are. All right, let's go here. This is 2nd Esdras chapter 16 and 33. And it reads, the virgins shall mourn having no bridegrooms. Be Slakia, the women shall mourn having no husbands. Their daughters shall mourn having no helpers. In the wars shall the bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine. All right, so these wars are gonna increase. All right, we know that ultimately the full scale of World War III is not gonna happen until after the chip is made mandatory. But you're still gonna have these wars, and as Yahweh Shai put it, wars and rumors of wars. All right, and this is beautiful because all of these things is ultimately leading us down the path of prophecy. All right, so let's continue with this video.
Passed yesterday in the House of Representatives, and also,
are you constantly being pulled in every direction?
Unfolding. Now, in addition to that, just for clarification, this passed in the House of Representatives. We're hearing that this is going to be going on to the Senate, where they're saying this will likely be not passing in the Senate. However, not because of the measure for the automatic registration for the draft, but because of other items that are included in the bill. But that means that if this does not pass because of these other items, that it sounds like Congress is on board and saying that we need a draft to be initiated as we are approaching what appears to be conflict with the United States and other nations. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Now I'm going to be sharing with you the latest details on exactly what has unfolded in the last 24 hours, as this just passed yesterday, as I mentioned, June the 14th, 2024, in the House of Representatives. And if you appreciate that, do me a quick favor, hit that like button for me. Just takes a second. This will also spread this information out so more people can hear the latest that is going on. To stay up to date and current with what is taking place in the world, hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell. It is totally free. Why not go ahead and hit that subscribe button? And also thank you to those of you that have hit that join button and are members of the channel and supporting monthly. Appreciate it a ton. Totally not necessary, but really greatly appreciated for those of you that want to take it a step further and support. And also for those of you that do that, all of these articles that I'm referencing, as you guys know here on the channel, I cite all the sources like it's a book report. I put it in the description, but if you become a member, it also pops up in your YouTube feed as well. All of these sources I'm referencing are going to be linked in the description below. They will also give you hyperlinks to the actual bill, which I have gone through, and it is massive. Wait till you see what is actually. I see the comments pouring in right now. People are saying, Cat Scratch is saying USA. Abu is saying thank you.
Now check this out, right? When you look at these comments, these are the average Edomites, right? And you look at these comments, it says, we're not fighting a war for crooked political leaders. The governments of the world has left God, my father, out of the political process. We the people need to retake back our love for God. All right, and ultimately, the Lord is not going to heal this place. All right, Trump's not going to fix this. Ultimately, all of these nations are going to end up having a fight. All right, and Babylon the Great is not exempt from that. And this is beautiful through the Spirit because we're starting to see that these people, we already knew this to be true, but these people don't actually love the Lord because they don't understand that the will of the Lord is to bring war. All right, it's the will of the Heavenly Father to bring war upon the planet. And the Lord's going to destroy Babylon the Great, which is America and its Western allies. And this war is going to be a contributing factor. All right. And it's beautiful because we're seeing these small steps toward prophecy. All right. Again, going back to Revelation 11 and 14, the second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. All right. It's coming quickly. And this is why none of these people want to, at a certain point, right? People used to go into the military for the benefits. That happened in ancient Rome as well. The military was a vehicle for progression. All right. But now you're starting to see people not want to go into the military. They're not willing to sign up because they see that we're now in a time of war. All right, this is from military.com/daily news. It says the military recruiting outlook is grim indeed. Loss of public confidence, political attacks, and the economy are all taking a toll. All right, and that's because, again, the Edomite privilege that used to exist, it no longer exists. So now these Edomites are not signing up for the military like they used to. Even Jake, who used to get in there for a Hellcat and a Charger, they're starting to see the writing on the wall, and they're not going in as much as they used to, which is why they're getting to the point where they have to lower some of the recruitment restrictions, the recruitment requirements. And now we get to this week where they're pushing a bill, all right, to basically draft 18 to 26 to automatically be enlisted for the draft. So once the draft goes online, anybody between 18 and 26, male or female, is going to be put into that litter, all right, if you will. Why are they doing that right now? Why is it that Democrats and Republicans are both on the same team when it comes to the actual draft? Because no, it's the same beast. It's two horns on the same beast. All right, it's Revelation chapter 13 and 11. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. All right, because ultimately it's two horns on the same beast. And while they do these arguments, this controlled opposition on camera, behind closed doors, they're both with the agenda. All right, and ultimately that agenda is going to be war. All right, these defense contractors, these weapons manufacturers make a lot of money in these wars, you know, and this is why through the Spirit, beginning with the Heavenly Father first and foremost, wars come into the earth. That is the will of the Heavenly Father. All right, whether this world accepts that or not, it doesn't matter. All right, real quick, is Isaiah 46 and 9, and it reads, remember the former things of old, for I am power and there is none else. I am Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and there is none like me, declaring the end from the beginning, and from ancient times the things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure. And what is the Lord's pleasure? To bring war to the place, all right? To bring down this place through various means of judgment, and one of those judgments is war. All right, real quick, this is Jeremiah 46 and 3, and it reads, order ye the buckler and shield, and draw near to battle. Now, when you go into the NLT, it says, prepare your shields and advance into battle. All right, people forget that the Heavenly Father is considered, all right, a man of war. All right, it's Exodus 15 and 3. The Lord is a man of war. The Lord is his name. All right, and this is beautiful because the world is beginning to witness it. These are the small but very necessary steps through the Spirit. And it's up to, you know, the Heavenly Father setting up the watchmen to bring these things out. All right, because what's going on in Ukraine is like a small window into the reality of war in the modern era that you eat through your young men first quarter. And then the process of training new men and then putting them on the front line, they're just as useless, if you will. They're really just bodies to stand in front of bullets because they're not trained to actually be a contributing factor. This is why in 2nd Esdras, the 16th chapter, it said that their men shall die in the wars. You can't train a guy 3 weeks and then put him on the front line and expect him to be effective. But the Lord is setting this up to turn this thing into a meat grinder. Because it says wars and rumors of wars, which means there are still going to be these small skirmishes where people lose their life. But the Lord is setting the groundwork through these Edomites, because these Edomites are not really in control. It's the Lord. The Lord has these Edomites setting up the groundwork. So when they do bring that, the world, when the World War III actually starts to happen, there's already legislation in place to feed these people to the meat grinder. All right, there's Proverbs 21 and 1. The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. As the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will. And the Lord is turning the minds of these people, all right, the kings of these nations, to go to war, man. That is the reality. All right, now I want to show you a video real quick. This is from Ukraine, right? And I'll just play it on mute so you can just get a gist. It says Ukrainian recruitment officers were filmed wrestling with a man in Odessa. Because at this point in Ukraine, they're basically snatching people off the streets. And I can imagine that happening in Babylon the Great when they call your name for the draft and you don't want to go, so you think you're just going to draft dodge. Eventually, they're going to get desperate and they're going to start doing some of these same tactics. Look at these military guys right here. They're wrestling this guy and snatching him up, man. That's how desperate they've gotten. After 2 years of war, they have to literally drag people off the streets and put them on the front lines, which should give you a window into what the Lord is bringing to Babylon the Great. Because, you know, the Lord is saving the worst for last, which is this place. All right, and it's beautiful through the Spirit if you understand what's going on. All right, as a matter of fact, this is Proverbs chapter 28 and verse 5. While this is playing, it says, evil men understand not judgment, but they that seek the Lord understand all things. So we understand that the Lord is bringing war. You know, scriptures talk about wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. The Lord is using all of these methods to really bring war on the planet. Beat your plowshares and the swords. Man, you can feel it in the air through the Spirit that the Lord is bringing a different spirit upon the earth. The fact that these men are this desperate in Ukraine, that they're snatching guys off the streets, putting them in vans, and then driving them to get a few weeks of basic training and then going to war. And this is a country that America said that they would help. So, you know, eventually they're going to have to get to the point where they actually put boots on the ground. How that happens, we don't know through the Spirit, but eventually World War III is going to come. It is not going to be prevented. It's not going to be held back. It is going to happen. All right, as a matter of fact, since I'm in 2nd Esdras 16, I'll go here. 2nd Esdras 16 and 3. I start at 1. It says, woe be unto thee, Babylon and Asia. Woe be unto thee, Egypt and Syria. Gird up yourselves with cloths of sack and hair. Bewail your children, and be sorry, for your destruction is at hand. A sword is sent upon you, and who may turn it back? A fire is sent among you, and who may quench it? Plagues are sent unto you, and what is he that may drive them away? May a man drive away a hungry lion in the wood, or may any one quench the fire and stubble when it hath begun to burn? May one turn again the arrow that is shot of a strong archer? The mighty Lord sendeth the plagues, and who is he that can drive them away? Nobody, man. All right? It's beautiful because you look at it and all of these Edomites who swear they love the Lord, when these scriptures start coming out, they start talking about how, you know, we need to get Trump in office. They're not one with the will of the Lord. The will of the Lord is to bring war on the planet, man. All right, let's go here. It's Ephesians chapter 5 and 15. See then that you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil. Wherefore be ye not unwise, but understanding what the will of the Lord is. And the will of the Lord is to bring war. All right. And this is why all of these things, all of these steps are being laid in place. So when it's time, they can just flip a switch. All right. So Lord willing, this was edifying. I just want to go through that through the Spirit. One of the brothers sent me this. And I just want to go ahead and jump right into it through the Spirit, which is the Spirit, because I want to do a video on this. All right, so Lord willing, this was edifying with that. We give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Wakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who are the elders of Yasha Allah, and a sincere salutation to all you Akim, who are preaching this word and believing this word, and to the Akwat who will believe in this word and all truth and in sincerity. Shalom.